Okay, if I could get a motion to approve, or no, do you have the minutes?
There's no minutes, Jerry.
Oh, no.
Can't get to them
Oh, we got,
yesterday.
okay. All right, they were on there yesterday.
They were on
Yeah, I
there
was like,
yesterday.
yeah, okay. So the Commissioner's Office will report on items approved January 16th through the 22nd. Jerry?
On the 16th, I approved for Job and Family Services acknowledgement of the new hire appointments made by the Executive Director as they complied with the Board of Commissioners requirement and hiring procedures for Kelsey Webster as a Social Services Worker 2, effective December 3rd. Cynthia Kale, Clerical Specialist 3, was effective December 17th. Lorraine Kane, Eligibility Specialist number 1, effective January 2nd. And Cashman Dalla, Social Worker 1, effective January 7th. And then for transit, approved and executed the Ohio Motor Fuel Tax Refund claim for transit buses for the period of October 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018 in the amount of $2,817.45. That was January 16th. On January 22nd, I approved for aging, hiring Sherry Roth to the position of full-time transportation driver to be effective February 3rd at the rate of $14.25 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. The offer is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions. For the Board of County Commissioners, I approved an unpaid personal leave of absence for Megan Harrison for the period of June 10th through June 14th. This will extend her probationary period by 1 week, 40 hours. Maintenance, I approved and executed a service contract agreement with M&M Home Improvements, LLC, to perform improvements of various Geauga County buildings during the year 2019 in an amount not to exceed $10,000. And for Water Resources, I approved and executed a service contract agreement with CUE Excavating Contractors, LLC, to perform general excavating services as needed at various wastewater locations within the department for a 2-year period, 2019-2020, in an amount not to exceed $20,000, $10,000 per year. Approved and executed service contract agreement with Emory Electric Incorporated to perform electrical repairs as needed at various locations within the department for a 2-year period, 2019-2020, in an amount not to exceed $10,000, $5,000 per year. And approved and executed a service contract agreement with Bergman Associates Incorporated to perform maintenance services and installation of all telemetry and control systems, including meter calibration at various wastewater facilities within the department for a 1-year period, 2019, in an amount not to exceed $5,000. Most of those are just the annual service contracts that are put together so that when there's an emergency, it can be done quickly.
Yep.
How you doing, Adrian?
Thanks, Jerry.
Good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
Good, good. Today's financials include a cash transfer from the general fund to Court Technology to pay a portion of their 2019 funding. Cash transfers from the general fund to Community Development and Metzenbaum for the fourth quarter 2018 interest. Cash transfer from the general fund to Job and Family Services for the third quarter state fiscal year 2019 commitment. That's for, I believe, the Family First, if I'm not mistaken. Travel request from the Commissioner's Office to attend the Ohio Public Employer Labor Relations Association HR Law Conference. Travel request from Common Pleas to attend the Ohio Chief Probation Officer Seminar on Criminal Justice in Ohio. And then a then and now from JFS to Belfair Jewish Children's Bureau for amounts not previously encumbered for residential treatment services during December of 2018. And among the vouchers are $98,691.51 from ADP to Logicalis Incorporated for the Cisco SmartNet system license renewals for 2019. $22,707.50 from Building to Preston Ford for a new model 2019 Ford Escape vehicle replacement. $140,105 from the Commissioner's Office to Ravenwood for funding for the youth center operations, and $43,417.70 from the Commissioner's Office to Skoda Minotti for the forensic accounting services. And just to reiterate or restate the numbers from last time, the total for Skoda Minotti so far for this investigation is just shy of $165,000 at $164,737.40. And the Comanche Stafford, which was the special prosecutor, is at $82,001.71. I misspoke last meeting and indicated that we had spent about $50,000 with Skoda Minotti, but that was a misstatement.
Yeah.
So the prosecutors, how much was that total then?
The special prosecutor was just a hair over $82,000. The Skoda Minotti one was the larger one.
So we're looking probably at about 150,000, or a little bit actually more between the two, right?
Oh, no, it's, yeah.
$250,000.
Yeah.
Almost $250,000. Just for the investigation. That doesn't include all the prosecutor's time and all that stuff that we paid for as well, so.
The Ravenwood funding for youth center operations, do we make quarterly payments on that? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
We've only encumbered right now 2 of those quarterly payments.
Mhm.
I know that there was some question at one time as to, what our funding level for that was gonna be, if there were gonna be any changes to it, but I think we're moving forward as it is right now, so.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, get a motion to approve the financials.
I so moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thanks, Adrian.
The next one is your gas well, if you want to take.
Oh. Okay, so every year, we keep track of all the gas well revenue, and normally we distribute that on a quarterly basis, but for the Geauga County Agricultural Society, we basically instruct the auditor, wait, is that? No, I'm sorry, that was the one for the Women's Safe. This is just, once a year, we distribute the money that we collect from the gas well at the fairgrounds to the Geauga County Agricultural Society, and this is just creating a motion for us to go ahead and make a voucher for that and pay them.
Okay, you get a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is that the only gas well we have in the county?
No, there are probably about 4 or 5 different ones that we get commissions from. So, but this is the one that's on the this is the one that's at the fairgrounds that still is producing. So,
Thanks.
Okay, Department of Aging, or no, I'm sorry, Engineer Nick.
You almost
Morning.
Yeah, yeah. I know you had a bunch of them on there.
No,
Not anymore?
next week.
The agenda changed quite a bit.
No,
since-
you have,
Yeah.
you have your final agenda from today, but then you have the tentative agenda for next Tuesday.
Okay.
So that's
Oh,
probably
okay, that's what I was reading, okay.
Item for today is our annual certification of road mileage for the county per the ORC for certifying 235.674 miles were maintained by the county engineer's office.
Okay, you wanna read that?
County Engineer's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the Ohio Department of Transportation Office of Technical Services 2018 County Highway System mileage certification that 235.674 miles was the total length of county maintained public roads.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Arnold?
Aye.
Thank you.
How many miles does the state have in our county?
I have to look at the law.
Okay.
I don't know that number off the top of my head, but we have that in all the different townships.
In the township?
Each individual township has to do the certification also. So, and that's all part of that 4501, I think, or whatever it is of the ORC. And that's for the distribution of funds.
Okay.
Jessica, thanks, Nick.
Yep.
Have a good one. Morning.
Hi, good morning, morning.
Hello.
So, we would like to advertise for a full-time assistant rec and education coordinator. This is not a new position. We had an employee vacate that position in September. And we just wanted to pause a moment because we were trying to think at that time whether we were going to be closing the Chagrin Falls Senior Center. So we just wanted to pause a moment and not hire immediately when she left, but we were ready now at this point to move forward with
Okay. You want to read them?
The Department on Aging is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of full-time assistant recreation and education coordinator, number 1005. This position will remain posted until filled.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Mrs. Blair?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
that. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a great day.
You too.
Mr. Favorite.
Morning.
Hi, Dave.
Morning.
Morning.
We have several actions before the board today. The first two relate to the Fair Housing Commission. The first action is reappointment of existing commission members, and the second action is the appointment of new members. The reappointment is for Nancy Lair and Al Thompson. Nancy is a longtime local realtor and frequent speaker at Fair Housing, and she's also the director of training for Keller Williams. She's been an asset to the commission for a long time, as is Al. Al, I think you know.
She teaches a lot of classes
She's a
also.
long-time teacher, yeah. Al is a vice president of mortgage lending in Middlefield, and he's been a very important member for a long time. So that's item number 6. Item number 7 is the request to approve the appointment of Dawn Farrell. She is the executive director of Geauga Metropolitan Housing Authority. And Sarah Clemson is the executive director of the Maple Leaf Community Residence, which is a nonprofit housing. And then Lisa Briggs, she's the CEO of the Geauga Credit Union. She's been in that position for a long time. So these are all long-time Geauga folks.
Can you give just a quick explanation of what they do there?
Well, we serve as the federal prevailing wage officer, and federal housing is, I guess, not all that familiar with it, Tim, but it's the agency that handles complaints from the general community. And our function is for training and education for landlords and residents regarding the regulations of fair housing. So
Okay.
we conduct 4 meetings a year, and in a word, it's education. So our role is education.
Okay.
And that's why Nancy has been such a great team member for that. She plays that role for her company.
And the classes are usually at Building 8 or
Building
sometimes
8.
at Tunderson.
Yeah, in general, there's a lunch involved, so. 4-year, did I say 4-year?
Mhm.
4-year.
That's all federal funding?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we receive income for that, as I
Okay.
mentioned last week.
Okay.
In the neighborhood of 41,000.
Okay.
I think you may have asked me that.
Yeah. Okay. Read those together.
The Department of Development is requesting the board approve the reappointment of Nancy Lear and Alfred Thompson to the Fair Housing Commission for the 2-year term ending December 31st, 2019. The Department of Development is requesting the board approve the appointment of Dawn Farrell, Sarah Clemson, and Lisa Briggs to the Fair Housing Commission for the 2-year term ending December 31st, 2019. Their actual terms ended in 17. The board was still meeting in 18, but it was never formally reappointed.
I so moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Commissioner Story?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Number 8.
Number 8, I'm requesting that this board grant permission for us to move forward with the competitive sealed bid proposal process for the strategic plan for economic development for the county. So with this permission, we will then publish our legal notice and associated RFP on the 31st, and then a week later on the 7th in the local papers, as well as on our website, and I hope 2 other websites as well, American Planning and
Yep.
ODA.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think, I think there was some discussion if you needed to actually go out to bid for this, but I think this is a good way to do it too. I mean, it's gonna get a lot more attention, I think, from,
Yes.
so that.
Yes, and actually at that seminar I went to, I mentioned last week, I
Yeah.
met with the executive vice president of that organization. And she said, by all means, we're happy to publish this
Good.
on our website.
Okay.
for us. So
That's
that-
great.
that
That's a
will
big
be
help.
great.
Yeah.
That'll be vaccination.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, get a reading on that, please.
The Department of Development is requesting for a grant permission to advertise for a competitive sealed proposal for the Geauga County Strategic Plan for Economic Development to be held Wednesday, February 20, 2019 at 2:00 p.m. Notice of this competitive sealed proposal will be advertised January 31st, 2019, February 7th, 2019, and on the county website.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. I
Thanks,
just
Dave.
want to say thank you. This is an important day for economic development, the future of
Yeah.
economic development in the county. So I'm very grateful to the board for this
100%.
leadership and for giving us the, okay.
Yep,
Thanks, Steve.
I agree with you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Morning, everyone.
Hey.
How are you
ya?
guys?
Good.
Good. So, yeah, we're here this morning to discuss just a change to our employee, well, a portion of our employee manual. We actually sat down, maybe it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, with Jerry and Kathy Hausteltner to kind of go over this, discuss it. And it relates to our kind of discipline section of our employee handbook. And it's really what I think, and Jerry would agree, an improvement, and I think it's something that Jerry is going to take a look at to consider moving towards the county adopting this particular policy. And we consulted with Corsa and actually had them, unfortunately, we've had to go through a significant amount of disciplinary actions through the course of 2018. And in so doing, we usually consult with Corsa quite a bit. I'm actually very impressed with the kind of work that they do and the kind of advice that they give. And they overall, through these discussions, we asked them to take a look at overall our policy and to see and make sure that it's as optimal as it can be and in accordance with the current state of employment law in Ohio and nationwide. And in so doing, they took a look at it and made some recommendations. We have gone forward and adopted those recommendations, and that's actually in the policy that was submitted to you for consideration today. And again, I think it's something that Jerry and Kathy very well may take a deep look at. Even they looked at this for us and may look at adopting for the countywide. And really, to be honest with you, I think it's actually more employer friendly. I think previously we were almost giving more rights to the employee and safeguards to the employee than we were required to. And so I actually think that this is really more optimal for the employer, and considering you guys are the employer for all the major departments in the county. So Jerry, I said, should we pause this and wait for the whole county to go forward? And he said, I don't want to hold you back since you guys have done this work. So, so that's what we're here for.
Okay.
The only one that I didn't really, I looked at this was I think it's number 5. I think to find it, there's, theft of agency property, and then also you've got on here dishonesty and theft. I mean, the theft, that should be pretty much grounds for termination right away. I mean, that's a crime. I think that
Yeah, it
as
is.
far as a level of discipline, to follow the same chain of a reprimand and all that other stuff.
Yeah, those are actually, that list are, those, if you take a look, those are actually actions that may warrant immediate discharge.
Okay,
If at the top of that, on 3.1.
right.
So yes, those are, that is a list of non-inclusive behaviors or actions that
Okay.
we can actually immediately discharge,
Okay,
so.
okay. Because I thought that, and I just had interpreted that it was going to follow the same procedures of the verbal and
Nope.
formal, so as long as we're
Nope.
okay with that.
Yep.
This streamlines the process, but still protects the employees, giving them a chance to state their side of it. But some of the things you don't want to get too specific on and say, this is going to cause this, because there's grades of things.
Right.
There's theft of somebody took a pen home,
Right.
which is theft, and then there's theft of stealing money, stealing stealing one of your client's property or something like that.
Okay.
You don't want it to be much as I'm a black and white person, you don't want this to be that black and white,
Right.
because you want, somebody who accidentally takes a pen home be fired for it.
So it gives you interpretation, but at the same time, if it's serious enough, there's not an issue as far as, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, what I do feel really good about is that this is done with, you know, employment law is one of those areas of the law that changes a lot, and can change a lot, and rights and things of that. And so this really is, I think it's something that we should always be taking a look at every couple of years as to what, because, and it's also very, depends a lot on how cases are being interpreted, you know, employment law cases. And so this is kind of the current status of, it reflects that in here. And so, and I think, of course, again, I've been really impressed with the work that they've done for us. And so hopefully you guys end up adopting it too.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, we could get a reading.
The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board approve the revisions to the Job and Family Service Personnel Policy and Procedure Manual, Section 3, Conduct, including revisions to Section 3.1, Employee Conduct and Discipline, and 3.4 are notices of proposed discipline and pre-disciplinary meeting, and replacement of Section 3.3, Investigations and Discipline, to be effective January 4, 2019.
24.
24, 2019.
Yep.
Yeah.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Spiller?
Aye.
Mr. Lundey?
Aye.
Thank
Thank
you very much, everyone.
Yep, have a good weekend.
You as well. A hot seat.
And
Hi, Glenn.
Morning, how y'all doing?
Good.
pretty good.
First one's for Frank. He retired out of Arizona, moved back into the area. I don't know why, but he's forward of retirement life and he wants to come back to work a little bit, so.
Now, is this a fill-in a?
One of our janitors, yes.
Okay.
This would be the last position to fill.
You ought to put him on snow removal.
Oh. No.
Thanks.
I'll
Oh,
take
we
that
don't
job.
miss Arizona that much.
Yeah.
Okay. Get reading, please.
The Maintenance Department is requesting the board approve hiring Frank Amato to the position of custodian number 1906 to be effective February 11, 2019 at the rate of $11.81 per hour with a one-year probationary period. This offer of employment is contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions.
So move.
Second.
Mr. DeWart?
Yes.
Mr. Spiller?
Aye.
Mr. Lundey?
Yes. Okay.
The next one is the waste removal garbage for the county. A couple of years ago, or I guess about 4 years ago, a lot of the departments and everything were doing it separately.
Mm-hmm.
We came out, did everybody together. We got transit, water department, all 470, the courts. So it's been a really cost saving all the way around. We had 3 people put quotes in. This year we're doing a little bit different. We're just doing one contract, but with 2 billing on it. In the past, we've done one for the safety center, one for the county. So we talked to the auditors where we can do one contract, 2 billings on that contract, and it'll work out a whole lot better and save a whole lot more. 43,000 is for the, total, and 32,000 is for the county, and 11,000 for the safety center. We do not use all of that, all right? We put in a little backup in case the dumpsters overflow. We gotta pay extra for that. We also put in a backup in case we gotta get a dumpster to get rid of things. We allotted about 5 dumpsters on each one of the contracts. So we have that little play in there for each one. The last contract, if I remember correctly, 32,000, we had that at 35. We used just under 30,000, so it gives us that play for it. Questions?
I like the thinking of trying to get everything under one contract for sure. You know, this is what we've been saying, or Ralph and I have been saying it for years, is to get, you know, trying to identify other things where we can consolidate these.
Right.
You know, we got everyone running off doing 8 different projects, and you know, not necessarily any one of them being good or bad or indifferent, right? You know,
Right.
so I don't know if that's something, you know, we want to talk about again. I know it was thought of maybe it's the procurement office, either under the auditor's office or under commissioner's office or under the maintenance department or something, but, you know, I know we've got a lot of other things going on, but I still feel that,
We
you
do
know,
a
somebody
lot.
that wakes up every day, that's all they think of is getting this county the best deal.
Right,
You know?
we do a lot, our backflow preventers.
Yeah.
I think you just signed, last week.
Yep.
That's another one, transit, JFS, we all came together and said, hey, let me go out and get it all for you, and then we'll figure out the pricing later on and where the money's
Right.
gonna come from.
Right, like even like, I know we use a lot of fuel in this county, you know, diesel fuel and unleaded. You know, I don't know if it's cost prohibitive to have our own pumps or not, but if not, you know, coming out with a contract with one of these providers out here instead of
Right.
having a contract with all 6 of them, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
we could go with bulk and get, you know, quantity discounts instead of, you know, but I don't know if we really have ever thought about shopping that way or procuring that way, but I know you try and do the best you can on a lot of like, you know, like light bulbs and,
Right.
you know, stuff like that, but,
We do it with toilet paper,
Yeah.
paper towels, we
Mhm.
do all that bulk and everything,
Mhm.
so. Diesel, I know we get our fuel from the water department, we worked out with the water department.
mhm.
So we go over there and use theirs, their tank, so
Mhm.
trying to do a lot of that. I don't know who else the water department has got it worked out with.
Yeah,
Or
but
transit.
I know there's, everybody's got, you know, Transit's got a different one, the engineer's got a different one, you know, they all have different,
And there might be something with EPA too, how big the tanks you can have, I
Mhm.
don't know, so.
Right.
That's
We
something.
did look at that when Water Resources were looking at combining their offices and doing something. We were looking at the consolidating the fuel,
Mhm.
and it just was getting to be such a large project that it was
Mhm.
almost like we'd have to build a Sheets facility, type of facility to be able to house everybody. Because, you know, it's one of the things is that everyone wants to fill up at the same time.
mhm,
So you wind up with a big long line of everybody, you know, 7 o'clock in the morning
mhm.
or 4 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon trying to get in there. So you need more than 1 or 2 pumps to be able to.
Well, I
do
talked
that.
to, you know, the sheriff's department now, and you know, I brought this up to them, the saying, you know, would it be nice to have your own fuel station? He said, well, not really, because they're coming from all over the place and they need to stop, you know, instead of them driving back to Geauga, is the, you know, safety center every time we need to fill up, that doesn't make sense either. So they all have their own fuel card, but, you know, you can still have a contract with a
Yeah.
with the distributor, even if you know, are out, you know, we wouldn't necessarily need our own pumps and own fuel station to do that. But, I mean, that was just an example of, you know, where I think I'd like to see things eventually go, and you could start with the big ticket stuff, you know, computers or fuel or, you know, paper, you know, stuff that we use a lot of, you know. And, you know, that's really the goal of every day, you know, you know, no knock on anyone, but, and it really, you're, you know, maybe the assistant in the office is out looking on Amazon for copy paper instead of really maybe doing, you know, that time doing the job instead of out searching for what they think's the best price on copy paper, you know. If we had a department that handled it, you know, I think we may get a better savings there, but it's been brought up, it's been brought up.
Something we can
Yeah.
go back and re-review. I know we had a meeting about a year ago with Lake County on their system.
Mhm.
They were actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenn, but I think they were kind of at the point where they were looking to get rid of their procurement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was becoming cost prohibitive for them to have somebody that was all they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Was you know, looking at buying stuff, and then it was making trying to get it to each of the departments. So
Mhm.
they wound up having a person who's part-time. Their job was just delivering pens and pencils and paper to all the departments.
Yeah, I mean, you could,
Maybe for them might be easier next year when their office, or later this year when their single office is done, because now that person's just going up and down the elevator instead of going to 15 different locations.
True.
That's,
yeah.
And then you get departments with different envelopes.
Mm-hmm.
Courts want a certain envelope or see-through window and everything, so.
Yeah, I mean,
And
that
that
would
was
always
getting
be that.
difficult for
Yeah.
Lake County, and so they had to keep a stock of all of that in there. so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
But office supplies, I think it's something that would be good, like, you know, you work out with Staples or something, hey, you know, can we get a 15-20% discount off of that? Let them do the running.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, we're a big
we
customer.
order,
If
yeah.
we put everything together, we're a huge customer.
Correct,
I
if we
mean,
did all that, and
Yeah.
then go, okay, hey, departments call that place.
like
and
you
then
wanna
they'll
throw
deliver it.
your weight around a little bit,
I mean, that's
you know,
something-
buying power.
Like stores, I mean, you're going
Mm.
from, you're doing a lot of internet stuff now. So, and not people so much coming in the stores. We just gotta think outside the box a little bit and see what's the best,
Okay.
so.
Do we have a purchasing procedure or something that we're working on? You know, the goal is to get the best price.
We do have a procurement procedure, because, you know, that everybody is supposed to be following, but it's not a single location, so you have, you know, somebody in Water Resources doing, somebody in Aging doing, and somebody at the auditor's office doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of what things, they get 15 people doing something that maybe one person could be doing, and freeing up those other 15 people's time.
Mhm.
All right, thanks, Glenn. So if we could get a motion?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Appreciate
Good
it.
there.
Yep. Transit, somebody here, like, no, this is, okay, why don't we just get a reading on that?
The Transit Department is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for 3 positions of part-time driver number 2210-1. These positions remain posted and self-filled.
Motion?
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Ware?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Okay. Water Resources,
I'm
you gonna handle this?
Yeah, Steve had a meeting he had to go to this
Okay.
morning early, so, this is just again another annual service contract that's for 2 years with Platform Cement. It's $15,000 a year, $30,000 total. So it was over the limit for me to be able to approve,
Oh, okay.
to approve it, so it had to come before the board. Again, this is just the annual service contract. Platform can do much larger projects, so that's why their contract is a little bit bigger.
Yep.
Okay.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Okay.
These things.
Oh, yeah.
We're trying to get everything all done. So this is just to update the accounting forms authorization and payroll authorization for Aging and Department of Emergency Services.
Okay. Do you need a motion on those? Okay.
So move.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. Okay, number 15.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board amend the motion from January 8, 2019 to designate the alternate to reappoint James DeWart, alternate John Steigerwald, to the Tax Incentive Review Council and Reinvestment Housing Council for the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2020.
Make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye. Okay.
And the next one is,
16, yeah, if you could read that.
so the Commissioner's Office is requesting the board replace President Tim Lennon's current alternate Jim DeWart with Walter M. Skip Claypool to the Geauga Trumbull Solid Waste Management District Policy Committee for the remainder of 2019 or until a new president or alternate of the Board of Commissioners is appointed.
Motion. Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yeah.
Commissioner Spillier?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. We don't need the next
Yes,
step.
go back to that.
Okay. So, any announcements? We got Family First Council next week. Commissioner session will be on regular time, 9 a.m. next Tuesday. We have a Board of Revisions on the 4th. And-
The ADP special meeting is.
Oh, that's right, special meeting on the 6th, ADP special meeting. I think it's
So,
for,
talking about that ADP meeting,
Yeah.
and the budget, when we had the budget hearings, Common Pleas came in with 12,000. Now they're up to like
Almost 20.
28,000. Is there a reason for that?
I'm not sure.
Are you talking about
Is it-
the,
Yeah, they had a line item specifically to replace printers or copiers for 12 grand when we sat with them in September or whatever. And it's in our financials to, that they've requested that. And I know with this meeting, it's to increase it by more than double.
you want me to grab Adrian?
Yeah, cause in our appropriations, it was 12,000. So I don't know if there's a mistake there.
Or are they adding
Or
to
are
what
they-
they were replacing?
I'm not sure, I haven't checked into it to.
Okay, yeah, cause I don't know if you saw that, if you
Yeah, I
remember.
haven't really seen it, yeah.
Yeah,
I
cause
hadn't noticed what the ADP meeting was for, I just saw it was a special meeting. I hadn't
Yeah.
looked at it completely yet.
Cause our appropriation was for 12.
Was that part of the supplemental
Yeah,
appropriation?
and they had 12 in it, and then I saw this, and it's, what is it, 27 or 28?
Yeah, it's almost 28, it's 27 and change, it's for
So it's more than doubled.
printers. Copiers.
For copiers, yeah, not printers.
Was that in
I think
the
they're
supplemental,
multifunction machines.
requests?
Yeah,
And it wasn't budgeted for?
no. So they had 12.
Adrian?
Yes.
12,000 was a supplemental appropriation for a common pleas for copiers, but now this ADP is asking for like 27 or 28. Where did we miss something?
Or the ADP is called a special meeting on the 6th to approve common pleas purchasing 4 new copiers.
Oh.
I think they're multifunction machines. And the amount that was listed was over $27,000. So Ralph was wondering if the supplemental was not to cover the full amount or if they were paying for the difference.
So if you look
I
at our
don't-
supplemental, it's 12,000.
No, it is, it's like 12 or 12.5, I can't remember what it was, but,
Right,
and that was supposed to be for a copier and for some sort of,
right.
time tracking software of
Right.
some kind.
I just don't wanna get in a trick bag that all of a sudden we miss, that's a big amount to miss.
Exactly, yeah. No, I can go back and listen to the recording and everything as well, but,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was all that they were asking for, that we hadn't funded, in the permanent
Mhm.
appropriations. So,
Okay. Cause getting back to Tim's point on that, I mean, are they exploring some of these lease options?
we've investigated lease options over the years, and the amount of time that we typically hold on to a piece of equipment, we end up getting a lot more use out of it than what your typical lease would cover.
Okay,
Mhm.
So, I mean, your typical copier lease is at the most maybe 3 years, and we typically are keeping our copiers 5, 6, 7 years sometimes.
Mhm.
And then we're not also paying, all the interest charges and all
Okay.
those kind of things, so.
okay,
Not leasing that particular type of equipment is a financial benefit to us. Maybe, because I know the engineers, they're not here now, I know sometimes they lease some of their vehicles and stuff like that because they turn them over a lot quicker, but things like copiers for us and stuff, especially with the maintenance agreements, they last quite a long time. They're pretty reliable.
But I think like what, kind of the point is, like, if we had, say a 3 or 5 year agreement or contract with a service provider, copier service provider, would we get a better deal, countywide instead of, just common pleas going out for maybe, I don't know how many they're even talking about here, 1 or 2 or 4, maybe we're going out for 25 copying machines this
Right,
year.
right. Oh, yeah,
What
for
kind
sure.
of deal would you cut me?
I know that, I can't remember the name of the company now, but if it was Meritech or who it was, but someone had come in here and there were some changes in reps and stuff, and we were trying to get, because that was a common
Mhm.
theme in the budgets for this year was copiers and stuff, and
Yep.
trying to coordinate that a little bit, but I don't know if we're just,
I see, I'm just gonna flat out say it, companies don't run like that, right?
Mhm.
Like, your finance department wouldn't be over there shopping for their own computer, while the
Right.
manufacturers are buying theirs, or, it's like,
Well, it would be a good opportunity to leverage the
Yeah.
ADP board and say, is there any way that we can hold off on this a little while and get some other departments that had talked about that, and I can go through and,
See
you know,
who's
get a
looking.
list of departments that were
Yeah.
looking for that, and maybe we could leverage that a little bit more
'Cause
instead of going for 3, yeah, like
You
you
know,
said, go
and there's
for
a
10.
difference, and I've said it a million times, between being cheap and being frugal, right? You know,
Right.
if we're hanging on to copying machines for too long, maybe that's not cost effective either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's possible.
you know, so, you know, you know, I think it's a good point to start a conversation, to say, let's start being a little more thoughtful before we just go out and get on our phones or what, computers and go order something up. You know, or say, hey, this is what it costs, because
Well, and
that's what
what-
it says.
yeah, and
You know,
that's
I
what-
mean, that's what your business,
Yeah.
you're always looking for the best deal, right?
Right.
I mean, and I don't know if we,
Yeah.
I think we think we're finding the best deal, but, you know.
Yeah, we've typically held on to stuff until the manufacturer doesn't support it anymore. Just like with the mail machine that we just bought uptown, you know, Neopost was like, yeah, we're not, in 2019, we're not supporting that, you know, with a maintenance agreement anymore, so we get a new one. That's kind of the way that thing, although maintenance agreements typically get a little more expensive over time, they were always less expensive than buying a new unit, so we just kind of kept those going until they wouldn't cover them anymore.
Okay. Yeah, it might, you know,
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth asking the question,
Sure.
if anybody else is interested in.
No, I agree. And then, so how are we gonna approach this then? Just, are you gonna contact somebody for that?
I will look back on stuff and see who the people were that were asking
Okay.
about copiers, see if I have anything, any paperwork left from that meeting that we had with that one company, and see if I can get a list of departments, and maybe we could go to ADP with that list and just say, hey, and can we kind of expand this? Because that's what we were trying to do
Right.
at first. I wasn't the main point of contact for
Mhm.
that, so I don't know if any communication had come back about additional meetings
Right.
or stuff, so.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
was Dave at the.
You know, I don't know.
So to see that
We can check
discrepancy
into it and see.
also.
I'll look and see if there was an attachment with the invitation, to see if there was an additional information other than the little.
There
report
wasn't.
that there was.
There wasn't, it was
So-
strictly just the money.
Then I'll ask
Mhm.
Pam to forward the additional information on what it is that they're looking to buy. And then that way it'll give me
Yeah,
more
it's almost
information to
done.
look at.
No, I get it. Okay, thanks, Adrian, appreciate it.
Thanks, Adrian.
Any other thoughts there? And then, NOACA Finance and Audit Governance Executive on the February 8th. And that's about it.
Jim's going to the member training in February,
Okay.
so. we can-
What's that, new commissioner training? Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I missed the planning commission meeting on that Tuesday.
Okay, great.
Bring a pillow.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
Bring a pillow, Jim.
How are things going along? Chester Township, Auburn
Did you go way
Township,
back when?
Yeah.
Lake County, Geauga.
I left after about the first hour.
Any feedback? None whatsoever.
You and Skip, yeah, that one here.